Hey everybody, it's me, Angela Walters, your favorite midnight quilter, and in this video, we're gonna turn a piece of beautiful quilted fabric into some holiday decor and gifts that are sure to make your house as jolly as Santa's workshop. In the last episode of the Midnight Quilter, I showed you how we could quilt this pillow panel using stencils and holiday-themed designs. And if you haven't already watched it, be sure to do that, because tonight we're taking that pillow panel and turning it into some beautiful quilted projects. First up, we'll make a cozy Christmas pillow. It's quick, cozy, and far more stylish than those ugly Christmas sweaters. And because nothing says holiday season like an extra little sparkle, I'll show you how you can turn your pillow panel into some beautiful quilted stockings. They're so fun and cute and perfect for holding all those special little treats. So whether you're a seasoned quilter or a holiday newbie, I promise these projects will be fun and easy to make. Definitely a lot easier than untangling the Christmas lights that you put around your tree. So let's grab our quilted fabric and get started. First up, let's make some pillows. Because there's nothing quite like a cozy quilted pillow on your couch. I mean, it's perfect for snuggling up while you watch holiday movies. No need to rearrange your furniture or mess with lights. Shoot, just whip up a couple of quilted pillows, place them just so, and stand back and enjoy the beauty. I mean, it's kind of like voila, instant holiday glow. And the best part, these pillows are super easy to make. No elf magic required. Seriously, just 4 quick seams and you have a beautiful quilted pillow. To make the Season's Greetings pillows, you'll need 2 18-inch pillow forms, 2 18-inch quilted fabric squares, and 2 18 by 22-inch backing fabric pieces. So the first thing I'm gonna do is cut it right down the center. I kind of want these 2 pillows to look like they come together to make that poinsettia in the center. Now I know it won't quite line up that way because I have that seam allowance, but close enough is good enough. Then once that's cut, I'll trim it into that square. And since I want that flower to be kind of centered, I'm gonna make sure that I trim it equally on both sides. Then once I've trimmed at the sides, I'm gonna rotate it and do the same here. But this time I don't want it centered, I want it cheated a little bit more towards the flowers. Once I have that square trimmed out, all I need to do is the same on the other one. And once I'm done, I have 2 perfectly trimmed tops to my pillows. All I need to do is put on the backs. So I'm gonna grab one of them and 2 pieces of fabric that are a little bit longer than the pillow top itself, because I'm gonna fold it in half like so. This is gonna use a little bit more fabric than your traditional envelope pillow type style, but it gives it a little bit more sturdiness and I don't have to cut it or hem it, so makes it a little bit easy. With my panel turned right side up, I'm gonna grab those 2 pieces and I'm gonna grab the folded part, not the raw edge, because I want the folded part in the center. The raw edges will align around the edge, and I'm gonna do the same with the other one, overlapping them in the center. This bit of overlap is what's gonna help hold that pillow in place, and it also means that we don't have to sew a zipper, which is amazing. Once those fabrics are in place, I'm gonna pin them or clip them together so they don't shift while I'm sewing. I'm gonna use these little clips I have just because they look a little bit more festive. Nothing too crazy here, I just wanna make sure that fabric stays in place. And you get extra holiday points if you only use red and green clips. Now that it's almost decorated as much as my Christmas tree, it's time to go sew it together. Then I'm gonna take the pillow over to my sewing machine and sew a seam around all 4 sides. When I get to the point where my 2 flaps overlap, I'm gonna do a little back stitching along that seam just to help secure it, because it's gonna get a little bit of tension on it when we put the pillow form inside. Even though I purchased new pillow forms for these pillows, this is a great way to jazz up pillows you already have laying around, especially ones that aren't festive enough for this time of the year. And once I have all 4 sides sewn, I'm so very close to having my pillow ready. But there's just one small but crucial step. Before I go turn it right side out, I'm gonna clip the corners of my pillow, because it takes out a little bit of the bulk out of that corner so that you can poke it out and have really nice sharp corners for your pillow. Then it's time to turn it right side out and look at your beautiful masterpiece. It's kind of like I'm wrestling it a little bit, but getting those corners kind of poked out and get it kind of laying nice and flat. And then if you want, you can grab some sharp scissors or another little kind of tool and just kind of poke out those corners just a little bit. And there you can see our beautiful finished pillowcase. All I need to do now is stick that pillow form inside of it and put it in its perfect spot. These overlapping flaps are what hold that pillow form inside and makes it so easy to make. Then, when I'm finished, I'll have 2 pillows that are mirror images of each other that will look perfect on a couch. Instead of turning your panel into pillows, try decking the halls with another quilted project, stockings. That's right, I'm combining two of my favorite things, quilting and stockings. Okay, so I know it sounds kind of hokey, but making my kids' Christmas stockings is by far my favorite part of Christmas. I mean, it's a whole thing at my house. Sometimes the stockings have a coordinated theme, sometimes they're all the same color. I spend much more time pulling together the little stocking gifts than I do all the other presents. But the other day, I was kind of thinking about it and I realized something that shocked me. I have been using the same old stockings for so many different years. You know, the good old red and white fuzzy stockings. So I decided, you know what I'm gonna do? Create some new quilted stockings for my kids. I'm gonna grab my quilted panel and my template and we're gonna get to cutting. I'm gonna grab my panel and I'm gonna fold it right sides together. For the stocking, I'm gonna need a front and a back and they're mirror images of each other. And what I don't wanna do is cut them all out the same direction. I'm gonna try to keep that template in place and mark around all the sides of it. Then I'm gonna grab my trusty scissors and cut both of the pieces out at the same time. If that seems like a little too much work, you can mark out all 4 stencils separately. Just don't forget to have 2 of them be mirror images of the others. I know it's kind of hard for you to see on camera, but there it is. Then I'm going to rotate my stocking and do the same on the remaining fabric. Now I'm using scissors because I find it a little bit easier than trying to navigate that rotary cutter around all those curves, especially through the 2 pieces of quilted fabric. But if that's more of your holiday jam, you could definitely do that instead. I wonder if this is what Santa's elves feel like when they're helping to make all the gifts. While you don't want the cutting to look like you were a drunk elf while you were doing it, it doesn't have to be precisely perfect. We're gonna have a seam allowance that will help cover up some of the jagged edges. If you feel like your pieces are starting to slide around like, you know, some reindeers on ice or something, you can use some clips or some pins to hold them together. But I like living a little wild and dangerously, so I'm just gonna keep going as I'm going. Fingers crossed that it turns out okay. And then when I'm all done, I have my 2 stockings cut out and ready to go. This is kind of like the big Christmas reveal. So you ready? Ooh, ah, how adorable are these gonna be? I love how they're just kind of randomly cut out, a little bit of abstract look to them, but they're definitely gonna do their job, which is holding a lot of goodies on Christmas morning. Now it's time to take those 2 pieces and sew them together to make our stocking. So grabbing 2 that are mirror images of each other, I'm gonna put them right side together like so. Then we're gonna pin the pieces together so they don't move around as we're sewing through all those layers. And especially because nothing says holiday cheer like stabbing sharp objects through fabric. No, actually, in the interest of the fabric's feelings, I'm gonna use clips instead of pins, but either one will be fine. But I actually only have to pin around 3 sides. We don't wanna sew the top together because then it'll be a stocking that doesn't hold anything. And that is just a sad stocking. You would think, for as crafty as I like to think I am, and as many different videos and tutorials I've done, that I have made stockings before, but I actually haven't. This is the first stocking I've ever made. So I'm kind of hoping it all turns out all right. All right, now it's time to just sew those pieces together along one side and up the other. And just because the fabric is pretty thick, there's a lot of batting and stuff in here, I'm gonna sew it with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. I have my walking foot on here to help it move those layers through. And when I start, I'm gonna back stitch a couple times so that it kind of secures it since I'm not sewing around all the sides. Normally when I'm piecing quilts on the Midnight Quilter, I'm working with straight lines because I don't do a lot of curves. But here we've got some different shapes to work around. I'm just gonna take my time and reposition the stocking as I'm working my way around. My hope is that even if it's a little wonky or not quite the right shape, my children will still be impressed with all the presents that are on the inside. We know I'm using the walking foot because it just helps move those fabrics together, but if I'm being honest, I always piece with my walking foot. There's really no deep reasoning behind it. It's just what was always on my machine when I started sewing all those years ago, so it just always kind of stayed on there. I mean, usually it's overkill when I'm just piecing blocks, but it's perfect for this right here. And voila, it's almost done. Now I know you're dying to see what it looks like, but we have to keep it a surprise for just a little bit longer. I need to do a couple more things before it's ready. First up, I need to cut into it just a little bit around those curves. That's gonna make it so when I turn it right side out here in a little bit, that I get that nice curved look to it. So just grabbing my scissors and cutting just a little notch in where those curves are at. Of course, I'm trying to be very careful and not cut through the actual sewing, because that will just result in a stocking with holes in it, which could be kind of a funny gag gift, but ultimately we don't want that. Then I need to make a cuff for my stocking. That's totally optional, but I kind of like how it gives it a little bit of finished edge on the top. For my cuff, I need a piece of fabric that is twice as long as the top of my stocking and about 6 or 7 inches wide. Then I'm going to take them right sides together and sew it to make my little tube, which is going to be the cuff. All right, it might not look like much now, but what I'm gonna do is turn it right side out, like so, and then I'm gonna fold it in half. So kind of manipulating it so that it kind of works its way like this. So I have my cuff with one side with the folded edge and then one side with those raw edges, and then I'm gonna attach it to the stocking, placing it around the top of the stocking with the folded side down. Working that down until the raw edges are aligned at the top. Then I'm gonna take a second and pin this all together so that those pieces don't move around. Man, since I've been doing these videos, working through this, I have been singing Christmas songs nonstop for the last couple of months, and it is driving my family insane. But I've always thought it's never too early for Christmas music. All right, there it is, pinned and ready to go. Now here is where we have to wrestle it through our machine. If you notice, my machine doesn't have like a narrowing part, so I can't just put that whole cuff on here like this. If you have that option, yay you. But what I'm gonna have to do is work from the insides. So I'm basically just gonna kind of peel this back as much as I can, fit it under my foot, and hope for the best. It's like trying to untangle a string of Christmas lights. It's like wrestling cats. But I mean, the cuff isn't super important, but like I said, it does give it that nice finished look, especially since the inside doesn't have a lining. But the cuff is just gonna kind of help cover that up. I'm thinking if I make more of these, I might make a different color for each family member. And that way, nobody tries to steal my stocking. Another reason I like these clips instead of pins is since my fingers are all kind of in here trying to grab it, I don't have to worry about getting poked, because nobody wants to bleed on a Christmas stocking. All right, I got this sucker cuffed and ready to turn right side out. And this is the moment of truth. This is where we find out if I have a classic Christmas stocking or a more abstract, wonky, modern stocking. I'm just gonna reach in there and pull it out, just like that. I'll tell you, one thing I don't put in my kids' stockings is oranges. I don't know what that's about. My mom always put an orange in the toe of our stocking, which is fine. I mean, who doesn't love an orange? Is that just like a my mom thing, or is that a every mom thing? Maybe we just always had a lot of fruit laying around, I'm not sure. And my cuff is gonna fold down right over that raw edge, like so. Oh my gosh, that is adorable. Now this is perfect just how it is. But if you want, you can add a little tab to hang it up, and then all that's left to do is fill it with all the goodies. And what I love about this, it's gonna hold tons of thread, because you know that's what I like to have in my stockings. Whether you turn your panel into a couple of cozy quilted pillows or some festive stockings to stuff with Christmas joy, either way, it's a win. And hey, remember all those quilted scraps we had from cutting out our projects? This is a perfect time to gather them and give them a new life. Take some of the bigger pieces and cut out different shapes, such as snowflakes and holly leaves, and turn them into beautiful quilted ornaments. Or you can turn some of the strips into little gift tags for your presents. Simply cut it down to the right size, cut a hole, and thread it through the ribbon. Then you can write the details right on top of it. Or if you have big sections of quilted fabric left over, you can cut them down into smaller pieces and bind them and turn them into little mug rugs, or you can make some mini zipper pouches. It's just another way you can turn the beautiful quilted fabric into even more quilted gifts. Thank you so much for joining me through this last 4 videos of the Season's Greetings video series. I hope you've had a blast machine quilting the panels and creating the beautiful quilted projects. And remember, whether it's a quilt, a stocking, or a pillow, quilting is all about creating handmade things for ourselves and the people that we love. And if your stitches happen to turn out a little crooked, don't worry about it. Just call it character. I'm sure even Santa would approve. And while this wraps up the Season's Greetings video series, it's not too late to quilt along with me on the custom panels I designed for the series. To find out all the details on those products, as well as to watch the other videos in the series, just click the link in the description box below. Or visit quiltingismytherapy.com. Well, even though this video wraps up the series, I'll be back soon with another episode of The Midnight Quilter. Until then, everybody, happy quilting.